Good morning, River Rocks Church. Hope everyone's having a great morning so far. My name's Trent. I'll be jumping in the scripture with you this morning. We're going to be in Mark chapter 9, verses 21 through 24. When we look at the scripture, a little bit of context, we've been going through it as of last week, talking about a boy who has this spirit within him that's causing distress into his life, causing a completely different person. And he's presented to Jesus by his father. And where we're at right now is going to be on a portion of belief. Something that we may all struggle with on a daily basis, if not weekly, or if we don't know Christ, we might still be struggling with this. So I'll read. It's going to start in verse 21. So he asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And he said, "From childhood. And often he has thrown him both into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief." What do we see? Jesus starts with a question: how long has this been happening for? And the father goes to say, since childhood. This has been years and years and years and years of torment for this family. And oftentimes when we're stuck in this pattern of torment, we lose all hope for anything to change. And this father, after hearing who Jesus was, after hearing the miracles, had a restoration of hope, even if it was the slightest bit. But in this moment, he had hope. And we see that by his response. Jesus says to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible for those who believe." What is that going to do for that man? It's going to give him a sense of urgency to believe that Jesus can do what he says he can do, that he can heal this man. And it starts with just an ounce of belief, an ounce of hope. But how trying must that be for your life to be going so wrong, having all of these issues, all of these troubles with your family, and somebody coming to you and saying, well, you just have to believe one more time that it's going to work. When he's believed, other things might have worked for years and years and years, but this is different. Because with Christ, there's actual truth behind his words, that when he says something will change, it will change. Not a chance, but it will change. If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. That's what Jesus is calling this man to do, is to believe. And what do we see in the response of the man? He says, immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief." He didn't just leave it to say, "Lord, I believe," and have this feeling in his gut that he doesn't have it 100%. He was transparent with Christ, saying, "Help my unbelief. I believe, but help my unbelief." For us today, and as we go through this week, my prayer for you is that if you have any ounce of unbelief in your spirit, do as this man did. Call on to Christ. Tell him, "Lord, I believe, but I'm struggling. Lord, I believe, but there's things happening in my life that I just don't understand." We see, as we're going through Ecclesiastes in the youth, we read this past Wednesday that why try to straighten what the Lord made crooked? Many times we go through struggles, and it's the Lord's will that we're going through it, because it can give us a reason to have obedience and more strong faith to Christ, to God the Father, that we put all of our reliance onto him. For this man, for this father, if he wanted his son healed, it started with belief, and it started with going to Christ in his unbelief. So I encourage you to do the same. If you're struggling with anything, if you don't even know who Christ is, start with going to him, giving him transparency, and allowing him into your life to be able to do a work into your life each and every day. I love you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your week.